What is up, amigos? Hope you're doing awesome. What happens when a powerful actor who's been at the top of a game for nearly 2 decades walks away from a major project? One that's being directed by a man known for high-octane masculinity on screen and for stirring controversy off it. You get headlines, you get whispers, and soon you get a full-blown war of words. Some direct, some cryptic. This isn't just about a movie called Spirit. This is about professionalism, power play, feminism, and the strange politics of perception in the film industry. When I first read that Deepika Padukone walked out of Sandeep Reddy Vanga's next big film with Prabhas called Spirit, I thought, okay, maybe scheduling didn't work out, but when the social media posts started flying and sources began leaking bold scene details, I realized this story has more layers than the actual film might. So let's backtrack a bit. Spirit was announced as a major pan-India project starring Prabhas, directed by Sandeep Reddy Vanga, the man behind Kabir Singh and Animal. Now, with Vanga's brand of hyper-masculine storytelling and Prabhas's action hero persona, the film was clearly meant to be loud, intense and ambitious. And for a long time, everyone speculated about who the female lead would be. Deepika Padukone's name came up and fans were hyped, especially since she and Prabhas had already been seen together in Kalki 2898 AD. Pairing them again in Spirit looked like a blockbuster move, but here's the twist. The collaboration fell apart even before the cameras rolled. Now, just a day or two ago, media portals began reporting that Deepika Padukone was no longer part of Spirit. Initially, it seemed like she had walked out, but then more information trickled in, suggesting that she was actually dropped. Why? Depending on whom you ask, the story changes. One version says Deepika had some non-negotiable conditions. She reportedly wanted a 6-hour workday, a 20 crore fee, a share in the profits, and even a clause that would ensure extra pay if the shoot crossed 100 days. Now, to be fair, she had recently become a mother and balancing home and work was a priority. But the producers and Vanga apparently weren't okay with these terms, and the discussions reportedly turned sour. Another version says she wasn't comfortable with the film's bold content, rumored to have A-rated scenes and intense emotional sequences. And she wasn't keen on delivering dialogues in Telugu either. And that's where things started to snowball. Now, if all this had ended quietly, we wouldn't be talking about it. But then came the Instagram story that lit the fire. Sandeep Reddy Vanga, without naming names, shared a long note accusing someone of breaking the unsaid NDA, or the non-disclosure agreement, between a director and an actor. He claimed the person had disclosed plot details and tried to play a PR game. His post had words like "Khundak mein billi khamba noche," which loosely translates to a person scratching a pole in frustration, hinting at envy or spite. He also threw in lines like "next time, tell the whole story," clearly showing he was angry about a half-truth being fed to the media. Now, was he talking about Deepika? Let's not kid ourselves, everyone assumed so. His post was dripping with implication and the timing matched the wave of media reports, hinting that Deepika had walked out due to bold scenes. Vanga seemed to be calling out what he saw as a classic case of narrative control gone wrong. Now, within days, the film's new lead was announced. Triptii Dimri, who had worked with Vanga in Animal, was revealed as the new female lead opposite Prabhas. She shared an emotional note saying she was grateful to be trusted with the role, and honestly, she deserves the applause. But even before fans could celebrate, trolls began comparing her with Deepika. Some began criticizing her for being part of a film with bold content, almost as if she had done something wrong. This was ridiculous and quite frankly disturbing. Why is it that when a female actor signs on for an intense role, people question her values or intentions? Would they do the same if a male actor did the same? No. In fact, Triptii was being shamed online without anyone even knowing what the role actually demands. Now, this controversy, according to me, goes beyond one project or one disagreement. It exposes how we perceive professionalism, feminism, and choice in the entertainment industry. Let's say Deepika really did walk away because she didn't want to shoot long hours or wanted better compensation. Isn't that fair? She's a veteran, she knows her worth, and she has a family. But if that's framed as throwing tantrums or being difficult, then what are we really saying? That women aren't allowed to set boundaries.
Many years ago, I realized to find this sort of work-life balance. And I think as long as you have that, because I don't intend to burn out, I'm not going anywhere. So I think that in order to be able to do that, which somehow in our country is considered unprofessional, I'm not saying that anyone has said it to me, but even if I look at the corporate world, for example, asking for leaves or taking off, so, just wanting time for yourself, there is this sort of connotation of it being unprofessional or not hardworking enough, not driven enough. And I disagree. I feel like you can be all of those things and still still make time for yourself? How are you going to replenish? How are you going to put energy and good energy back into the work if you don't live life, especially as an actor? I think you need to have life experiences. I think you need to live life. And that's why even today, I just do everything on my own. It's not because I'm a control freak. It's because it keeps me grounded.
Now let's look at Vanga. If he truly felt betrayed by someone leaking the story elements to the press, maybe he has a right to feel upset. But when you post a public rant about it and drag feminism into the mix, you're not just defending your story, you're throwing shade. This isn't about feminism being weaponized. This is about two big names trying to protect their image. And unfortunately, a third person, Triptii, is caught in the middle. And let's not ignore the hypocrisy here. If the male lead is doing the same, bold scenes, no one bats an eye. But if the female actor opts out, she's either branded conservative or fake feminist. And if another actress takes the role, she's vilified for being too bold. The film industry even today can't seem to allow women to own their choices without judgment. Now, in my opinion, this was a situation that could have been handled privately and maturely. Deepika could have quietly exited the project without any leaks, if at all there were any, and Sandeep Reddy Vanga could have made his casting announcement without going on a semi-cryptic social media rant. Sometimes ego kills diplomacy, and in this case, both parties may have let things get more public than necessary. But the real problem is that Triptii Dimri, who's just doing her job, now has to bear the weight of unnecessary comparisons and social media judgment. That's just unfair. Now, I don't know who's right here. Maybe both are in their own way. Maybe neither is. But what I do know is that we, the audience, almost forget that actors are human too. They have lives, families, limitations, and beliefs. And directors, even ones as visionary as Vanga, need to remember that creative control doesn't mean emotional control. So was Deepika being unprofessional or just drawing a line that she needed to for her personal sanity? Was Vanga being betrayed or just feeling cornered? Was Triptii wrong for saying yes to the role? Or are we just too eager to judge women, especially when they're not afraid to say yes or no? We often think stars live in bubbles, far from the realities that we face. But when you look closely, the pressures they endure, balancing ambition and responsibility, navigating egos, protecting boundaries, are not too different from what many of us face in our own lives. In a world obsessed with loyalty to contracts and production houses, what gets forgotten is loyalty to the self. Deepika said no, maybe to protect her peace, her priorities, or her principles, and maybe, just maybe, we need more people in this industry willing to do that, not less. And for Triptii, let's not reduce her to a footnote in someone else's headline. She's a talented actor who's earned her space. The least we can do is give her that space without comparing, labeling, or second-guessing her choices. As for Sandeep Reddy Vanga, time will tell if Spirit becomes the film he envisions or yet another battleground for polarized opinions. But one thing is clear, directors may shape stories, but the stories people remember are the ones that respect the humans inside them. This was more than a film update. This was a reflection on how we treat people when the cameras are off. If you do like thoughtful takes like this on cinema, power, and public image, do subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, share this video if you believe conversations like this matter. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.